evening and welcome to your Geography Live Revision YouTube session. Oh, we're all ready for that Geography Paper 2, or we will be after today's session. Geography Paper 2, Urban Issues and Challenges is what we're going to take on today, specialising in London, London Sustainable City and London Urban Change. Who's with us tonight then? Who is with us on this bank holiday special? What are we now? We're about how many days out from the exams? About a week out, something like that. Let's see who's in the house to do some online revision with us. Let's have a little look. Who is here? So first up is, let's go to the comment section here. Bruno, always good to see you. Always with us watching the YouTube channel. Honestly, really appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Who else we got? We got Lucas. Yes. Good to see you, Lucas. Thanks for joining us for some live revision today. And Bruno saying hello to Lucas. And James is in. Good to see you, James. Regular of the channel. I know you always drop by to watch and do a little bit of revision. Everyone's saying hello to everybody in the chat. That's nice to see. And Harry, good to see you, Harry. Thanks for joining us. And it's good to see that your live chat's working again. I know you had problems with your live chat last time. And we've also got Grace. Hi, Grace. Have you been on before, Grace? I don't know if you have. I don't remember seeing your name before, but if you have, well done. And if you haven't, welcome. Welcome to Cup of Tea and Case Studies. So this little video that we're doing today goes with the previous video that we did last Monday on urban issues and challenges. We covered London and Mumbai in our previous video. Today we're going to look at urban change in London and sustainability, thinking about sustainable cities and future cities. So you've come to the right place here to do a little bit of paper 2 revision, which is the 6th of June. Right, is anybody else saying hello? What are you having to eat, drink? What have you been doing this bank holiday? Let us know what you've been up to this bank holiday weekend before we get started on some revision. Oh, gotta have a cup of tea. Named after the channel. My cup looks filthy then, doesn't it? It looks filthy. Cup of tea and case studies. We've got 11 in. 11 viewers. Wow. Appreciate that, guys. Much love for geography there. 11 viewers. Let's see who else is happening. People just chatting. That's lovely to see. Like geographers chatting away whilst they're doing their revision. And Lucas has got a Pepsi. Good choice. Good choice. Do love a Pepsi Max. I think it's the sugar. It gives you a good sugar rush. Does a Pepsi Max. Have we been up to anything then before we get cracking? Been anywhere? Done anything? Maybe you've done a bit of well, I'm hoping you've done some revision as well over the weekend. As I say, we've finally approached exams. I'm excited for these exams, as you can probably tell. I know I'm not sitting them, but I think we've done a lot of revision on this YouTube channel to get us fully prepared for this exam. We have got some more videos coming up. We're going to look at economic world in the next video next Monday. And then we've got resources, and then we're going to look at water. And they're all timed perfectly, ready for your exam. So, yeah, if you're watching on catch up, thank you for watching. If you do, I really appreciate it. And if you're watching as like a podcast, if you're watching from your bed, or you're walking the dog, or you're just outside at the gym, or, honestly, really appreciate it. Listening in, making notes is all good for your revision. It all really helps. Decaffeinated latte, very nice. That sounds pretty cool, actually. Don't you need the caffeine though to give you that? I don't know, that kick. Maybe you're allergic to caffeine. I don't know, but yeah, caffeine. I need caffeine. That's why mine's full caffeine here, as you can see with me just being so energetic. And a carrot. I love carrot cake. I bought a slice of carrot cake yesterday from the VE Day. Like a celebration way in my place in my village. I bought some cakes and I bought a carrot cake. I love the cream on the top. Carrot cake cream. Upgraded from mineral water, James. Oh yeah, it was healthy last week. Mineral water. Now it is carrot cake and lattes. Very good. Right, let's get cracking, guys. And yeah, if you're joining in, what do you need? You need some plain A4 paper. Just a standard A4 plain piece of paper. You're going to need some colours and some colouring crayons and a pen as always. Yeah, your usual goodies that you're going to need for cup of tea and case studies. And then, yeah, obviously a drink. I always get a biscuit in just in case I need to get some more sugar in whilst I'm doing my revision. A Rocky biscuit. Quite well themed for geography, isn't it? Should have been doing coast, shouldn't we, with a Rocky biscuit? That would have been it. Carrot cake gives me the kick. Yeah, I bet it does. Carrot cake is a good call. I love carrot cake. Right, let's get. I've got my quiz sheet here, so we'll see who's in for a quiz as well. We like to do a little rolling quiz with you. So we've got Bruno, we've got Lucas, we've got James, we've got Grace, and if you are in the chat, say hello so we know who you are. We've got Harry for the quick quiz. There's always quizzes on the way to test your knowledge, ready for your exams. What better way to revise than a bit of quizzing, a bit of colouring, and some nice notes. Okay, right, let's switch cameras then, guys. Switch it up, switch it up. Let's get that in position. There we go. I think we're looking about right there. Right, we're going to go to work cam. Present to work cam. Share screen. That one there. Sharing. And then we'll just change the layout. There we are, guys. 12 on a bank holidays. Fantastic. Thank you for turning up, guys, and watching today's revisions live stream. There's our piece of paper. We're going to get cracking. Okay. So here we go. It is paper 2. Today's revision is all about paper 2, and it is question 1. Urban issues, which is cities, urban issues and challenges. As I say, check out our previous video from last week where we looked at Mumbai and we looked at London. This is on the 6th of June. It's a Friday. And it's in the afternoon. What a time to have a geography exam, eh, guys? We didn't pick the times, unfortunately. But hey-ho, it is. Maybe you're all raring to go on a Friday afternoon. I don't know. Right, here we go. Oh, we've got a bit of romance in the chat. Oh, Lucas and his girlfriend, wife-to-be, lover. Very nice, Grace. Good to see you. Thanks for joining in the live stream. We do like a little bit of romance in the geography live stream. Right, there we go. That's our title banner. Okay, over this side then. This is where we're going to start our case study today. So it is our HIC city. Our HIC city. I've hit a staple there. That's why I've HIC city, which is London, and it's for urban change. So if it comes up on the exam, it will say urban change. How an urban area, a town or a city, is changing over time. So it'll say urban change in the question. There we go. Urban change. Right. There we go. So, right. Our place that we're going to look at is a part of London called Newham. So Newham is a district in London, or a borough. It's in East London. So maybe we should put a little compass direction. It's in East London, and it's a London borough. Basically means an area of London. That's my little map pin. There we go. There we go. We always have a little bit of colour, don't we, guys, when we're doing our geography revision. Zoom in for you there. It's this top corner. So it's in East London. It's a London borough. It's an area of London. And the main place, or one of the main places in this borough, is Stratford. So we're going to put that there. Stratford is the Olympic Regeneration Area. So that's the name of the place within Newham. Okay, so we're going to tell you what it's like beforehand, what the area was like beforehand. So yeah, here's up in the chat, guys. What was the area like around? Yeah, that's better, isn't it? What was the area like around Stratford and around Newham before the Olympics? Okay, heads up in the chat, guys. What was the area like before the London Olympic regeneration? Okay, for a point, you have to get a correct answer here. High crime rates. Any facts for me, Harry? You can have a point if you find me a fact about crime rates in Newham before 2012. Derelict and deprived. Yeah. Can you find me a fact as well, Bruno? How deprived was this area of London? High unemployment rates and, yeah, poor education. Good. Lots of answers here. Let's just put these on the screen for you so you can see. We've got to have to scroll down a bit here. So we've got derelict, yep, deprived area, high unemployment and poor education. Good. So we've got Harry with 1. We've got James with 1. Bruno's got 2. Oh, Harry's just got another 1. So crime rate fact for you here, 50% higher than the London average in Newham. In 2010, 50% of children lived in poverty. Wow. Bruno, that's not good, obviously, but that's a great statistic. So half of children lived in poverty within the area. I'm going to add that one, actually. And 50% higher, second most deprived local authority in London. Excellent, Bruno. Yes, second most deprived local authority. Yes. Right, some fantastic stats there. Right, okay, let's get into the stats then, guys. So it is, we'll go with that first one, which was second most deprived area in London. So it was also in the bottom 10% nationally as well. So that was a big problem. We've also got, which one did we have as well? Crime, wasn't it, I think? Yeah. So it's in the bottom 10% nationally for the index of multiple deprivation. Yeah, I'm going to highlight index of multiple deprivation. That is going to really impress the examiner if you can use that phrase. Yeah, what also known as the IMD, index of multiple deprivation. So just zoom you out a little bit there so you can see. Yeah. Second most deprived area in London, and it's in the bottom 10% nationally. 50%, wasn't it? %50 higher crime rate and child poverty. So we'll put those in, guys, that you've come up with. They're really good. I think they're fantastic statistics to show what the area is like and the problems that this area was facing prior to the Olympic regeneration. Really good. Really good there. Right. I'm going to add a few more facts that I've got from my case study. So it has a very multicultural population prior to the Olympics. It still does today, but very much so prior to the Olympics. So we've got let's do a little pie diagram. So around about 40% of the population here was white and British, and 36% were Asian, and 24% were black descendant. Okay, so 24% black, 40% white, and 36% Asian. So it has a very multicultural population, which is fantastic. Here we go. Superb. What's not fantastic is some of the next statistics, that there was a 67%, oh no, sorry, 6.7, not 67, 6.7% of adults were unemployed. Adults were unemployed in the area. 6.7% unemployment rate. And 34% of adults had no qualifications. So you can start to see some of the social challenges of the area. Without any qualifications. So this is an indication perhaps of failing schools in the area, lack of investment, lack of aspiration. Maybe I'll put that there, lack of aspiration. So children in this area were lacking perhaps aspirations. They weren't doing well at school. Their families previously hadn't done well at school. And it wasn't becoming a good picture there for the children. Okay, so it was also nicknamed by a guy called Ken Livingstone. He's an MP. So Ken Livingstone named it the backyard of London. Backyard of London. Basically because it was run down, derelict, abandoned, unloved. And he described it as a backyard of London, undesirable area, basically. So what happened? Well, like most places that have really suffered, it suffered massively from deindustrialization. So we're going to draw a little factory here that's closed. Maybe you can put closed in a sign here. So because of globalization and pressures from overseas companies, often it's cheaper to manufacture overseas, produce goods, and then import them. Many UK factories have closed. So between the 1960s to 80s, this area faced massive deindustrialization. Deindustrialization. Okay. This in particular was the Lee Valley. And so the Lee Valley is the area around Newham, and the London Docklands also at the same sort of time. There's huge, thousands of people were made redundant, lost their jobs, and because of deindustrialization, which is the decline of manufacturing. It's the decline of manufacturing in the area. So just highlight that, deindustrialization. So that led to huge amounts of job losses, and we're going to look at some of the problems now of the area. So, let's zoom out a little bit, shuffle down. There we go. So today's page is basically going to be half and half, pretty much, okay, rather than in thirds. Okay, so 34% without any qualifications at all, and then deindustrialization. Okay, this led to the spiral of decline. So when people lose their jobs, that leads to a triggering of consequences of lots of people facing problems. The whole area goes into the spiral of decline. Highlight that, guys. That's a really important one. Okay, which basically means that people. So there's job losses. So the industry closes. Maybe put that one in first. Industry closes, like the factory closes. That leads to job losses. Yeah. Industry closes, job losses. And then we've got people. People have less money to spend. Yeah, people have less money to spend, which means local services close. Things like shops and restaurants and whatever else is there. And then further industry closes, more job losses, and it just leads to this negative spiral. Job losses, less money to spend, less money spent in local services, so they close, more industry closes. So it's a negative area. This was what was happening in Newham. It was the spiral of decline. So let's have a look at what industries were closing. So we had food processing plant, like a canning factory. For salmon, we had a chemical works that closed. These were all manufacturing bases. We had a leather factory. These all closed, making lots of people redundant, without a job. There's also a bus depot there, but that's no longer there obviously now, but there was a bus depot in that area. So this led to a large amount of brownfield sites. Brownfield sites. Okay, so that's areas which were kind of contaminated by the old industry, but it's land that's been previously built on, and it's brownfield sites, so it's just land that's ready for redevelopment. Okay, there was also in the area a lot of flats. I'm just going to draw a block of flats. Most people in this area lived in these high density tower blocks, like 1970s style tower blocks, which can house a lot of people. That's why they were built. House a lot of people in a small area. So many people lived in high density housing. So these are lots of people close together. So high density housing. And many of them are social housing. So the people that live there are on low incomes. Yeah. They probably don't pay rent because it's paid for by the government. And these are your most vulnerable people. Okay. I'm going to put that vulnerable people that lived here, because that's part of the story. What happened to this area affected the poorer, more vulnerable people in society. Some of the areas that you could name are Clays Lane. Clays Lane is the name of the housing area, and the Carpenter's Estate. Okay. And what happened with these people is that many of them were in the development. They knocked, obviously, the apartment blocks down, and they had to move somewhere else. Okay. Most of them were moved, so people had to move to Essex. Yeah. That's where most people were relocated, in the coast of Essex. Okay. So the people from Newham were relocated into housing in coastal towns around the UK, but largely in Essex, such as Clacton-on-Sea. That's a place in Essex where they went to, Clacton-on-Sea. Okay, so that's a lot about what it was like beforehand. Let's have a look at what it's like now after regeneration. Okay, so maybe I'm going to put here after 2012 regeneration. Okay, So let's see how it's changed. Remember, again, this is all about urban change, so you can say what it was like before and what it was like afterwards. So it was developed by a group of people known as the LLDC, which stands for London Legacy. That's a key word, guys, legacy. If ever you're talking about Stratford, London, talk about its legacy, if it's got a long-lasting legacy. London Legacy, then it's Development Corporation. Development Corporation. So these are the people in charge, along with the UK government, they were in charge of the regeneration. So we've got the London Legacy Development Corporation. Okay. And they had 3 aims. Well, they had more than 3 aims, but there's 3 main aims of the regeneration or the improvement of the area. So let's put the Olympic rings on, because it was the Olympics that regenerated the area. Money from the Olympics. There's my Olympic rings. Things you do. So it had 3 main aims as part of the London Olympic regeneration. So the aims were ... The first one was to improve connectivity, like road and transport links, public transport. So that's the first thing that they wanted to do. Improve connectivity. Provide more affordable housing in London was the second aim. So affordable housing. And last but not least was green space. They wanted to create more green space. So green space. There we go. So that's the kind of outset of what they did. They started in 2007. The building started in regenerating the area in 2007, ready for the 2012 London Olympic Games, and this was a spectacular event. So let's have a look what they did. They spent £9 billion on doing this regeneration of the whole area, improvements. Spent £9 billion. There we go. So £9 billion was spent. That's mainly taxpayers' money. So your parents would have paid to some extent for this regeneration. So it cost £9 billion overall in payment. So what did they buy with the £9 billion? They built some stadiums. Here we go. This is supposed to be a stadium, guys. I'm not sure if it looks like one. So they built sports arenas, obviously, for the Olympic Games to host all the events. So new sports facilities for the community. So they built new sports facilities for the community. Maybe I can put here a football, because it was West Ham. It's West Ham in the Premier League. Put that right on there. So the Olympic Stadium has now been bought by West Ham Football Club. So that's who plays in the Olympic Stadium. So West Ham Football Ground. West Ham FC. West Ham Football Club. It's got an aquatic centre for swimming, which can be used, which is amazing, can be used by the local people. It's got a 50-meter full-size Olympic pool with diving boards and everything else that they're going to need. And also, where the basketball used to be in the copper box, they still have basketball events, but there was the copper box, because it's copper on the outside, it's like an orangey colour. The copper box, which is also a music venue now. Supposed to be a little music note there. There we go. They have concerts in. They can have concerts or stand-up comedians. So the whole community now has all this sports, social sustainability, sports and fitness and health and well-being. It's fantastic, isn't it? And then it's got all of this events as well at the concert halls as well, which is fantastic. They built an Olympic village for the athletes, which is really nice. Got lots of blue and green space around it. So I'm just going to put some trees and some ponds. So this is called East Village. East Village. East Village. That's the old Olympic village. So athletes like Usain Bolt, Jessica Ennis, she's a British athlete, would have all stayed in these apartments, these modern glass-fronted, surrounded by lots of green space. This is all built on the land where there was the old factories, which is fantastic. There we go. This is the East Village. So which were modern apartments, modern living. So you got modern apartments there, which included also, which is quite nice, 2,800 affordable homes for people on low incomes. So again, some economic sustainability and social sustainability. However, this only accounted for 11% of all homes. So only 11% of homes were actually affordable. So that means that 89% of them weren't. Obviously, this was an area that was characterized by affordable living in London, quite close to the centre. So the people that lived there beforehand used to love the kind of affordability of the area, but now it's much more expensive. So people in the area felt betrayed. That's what was used in the media, that word, betrayed, or basically lied to, because they were promised 50% affordable housing nearly, and it turned out it was only 11% of affordable housing. So they did feel very much betrayed. Okay, in terms of connectivity, we had brand new train lines to Europe. So we had the Eurostar. That was to bring people in. This is my train here, guys. Oh, dear. This is the train going to Paris, the Eurostar. So now from East London, these people can actually get all the way into central Paris. How cool would that be, to be able to catch a train outside your house or in your area that takes you into Europe and to Paris? So that's fantastic. So yeah, we had the Eurostar train to Paris, and obviously that was built for the Olympics to bring people from Europe to come and watch the Olympic Games, but it's still there now and people can use it to travel backwards and forwards, which is fantastic. They also built the Docklands Light Railway. The Docklands Light Railway, and which is part of the London Underground, and it connects East London now to Central London, which is fantastic. So you can very quickly get from East London, which you couldn't do before, into Central London to do your shopping, to go to work. That's the underground sign. Oops, sorry guys, I didn't realise you're off screen there. There you go. So the Eurostar train link to Paris, and then we've got the Docklands Light Railway. The cool thing about the Docklands Light Railway, it has no driver. So basically it is automated through technology. Fantastic. Okay, let's go for a few others then. They also built 3 state-of-the-art schools. So this is a school, 2 secondary schools, I think, and there's 1 secondary school, 1 primary school, and then 1 that goes all the way through primary and secondary schools. So they built times 3 state-of-the-art schools for the children that live in that area, because obviously the schools were failing. We've already said 34% of children had no qualifications. So they built state-of-the-art schools, which all were Ofsted outstanding. So these are really good schools for results and things like that and funding. And the most famous one is the Sir Bobby Moore, who's obviously a very famous English football player. It's called Sir Bobby Moore School. It was built. Again, it's an outstanding school. So the children were getting an outstanding education and doing really well again, which is fantastic. Yeah, again, it's an example of how regeneration can bring social sustainability as well. So education improvements, housing improvements, connectivity, that could be economic and social, depends on what you're doing. Obviously, all this fitness and well-being. So I'm going to go, that's my page so far, guys. There you go. I'm going to go up here and continue to add a few more positives about this regeneration project. Okay. So there were a few more positives for the project, which was, let's put it up here. So the environment. So we're going to put here environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability was brought in. Some excellent initiatives, one of which was they actually cleaned up the soil. So they took out all the soil in the industrialized area and they actually cleaned it up. They filtered it all, basically, and decontaminated it all from chemical runoff and things from the leather works, the chemical works, things like that. So the soil was actually processed and re-cleaned. Well, it was cleaned up, it was decontaminated. So we had here soil decontamination. Yeah, so soil decontamination, that's supposed to be the soil looking happy. Soil decontamination. So all the pollutants were removed from the soil. That would be good for obviously any planting of any trees and things. So pollutants removed. That's what decontamination means. Good for habitat space, good for planting, all that sort of good stuff as well. The other thing that was decontaminated and restored was the river. So the river was heavily polluted back in the 1960s. So this was the River Lee. River Lee restoration. So they actually, again, decontaminated the river, took out all the pollutants, reintroduced any life that was in there before, and they made it, really a really attractive habitat space for the River Lee. So that was all part of the environmental sustainability of the project. So we talked about social, we talked about environmental. There was a couple more environmental things which they did, which was green space. So what they did was, let me just draw some green space here. They planted a lot of trees and they planted a lot of flowers. So what did they get? So we got 13,000 trees were planted. Trees planted. So we had 13,000 trees that were planted around the area. There we go. colouring it in, guys, making it look. So this is all part of the green space project. Green spaces are really important for sustainability. So green spaces, 13,000 trees were planted. They planted 450,000 plants, so like bushes and shrubs and things like that you get around. And also we had 10 football pitches, that's it. 10 football pitches of wildflowers, which I absolutely love. Wildflowers. So that's these wildflower bombs. You get bees and insects and all that sort of good stuff that comes around the wildflowers and pollinates, and it just spreads wildlife and all this as well cleans the air, captures carbon dioxide, helps the planet. What more can you get? What more can you have? Yeah. Perfect. So there was a lot of green space planted, which then led to, there we go, that's my wildflower meadow, which then led to the creation of the area being called Queen Elizabeth, after our late Queen Elizabeth II Park. Yeah, so the whole area was named after Queen Elizabeth in her memory, and it was one of Europe's biggest parks to be created, green space parks. So it all sounds pretty fantastic so far. You've got all this environmental sustainability, river restoration, you've got the green space. We talked about the social sustainability of the parks, and I mean, it all sounds really, really great, but there were a couple of negatives, okay? A couple of negatives that might affect the legacy of this development. So I'm just going to put legacy or sustainability question mark. The first one was, this is my little cross here. The first major problem with the project was the fact that it created gentrification, which is a great word to use, gentrification. So the average house price in this area now is between 500 or $500,000 to 1 million, and sometimes they're even more expensive than that, which then meant that many of the poor people didn't return after the regeneration project. So gentrification led to poor and vulnerable forced out, never to return. So basically, they destroyed a community of people that used to live there together, friends, family, and they were pushed away into coastal areas. I said Clacton-on-Sea in Essex, places like that, and they never returned. They could never afford to return because of the house prices, okay? Which is not good. It's not a great thing, is it? You'd want everybody to come back and be able to live in the same places. The other major negative was the jobs actually changed as well. I forgot to talk about jobs actually. Maybe I should put it up here. So they did actually build a huge Westfield shopping centre. So we used to have one in Derby called Westfield. Don't know if you remember, guys. Westfield Shopping Centre. Yeah. It's got a red sign. And this created quite a lot of jobs in the area. Now, Westfield, so this brought in investment, which is money. So it brought in investment from a TNC, transnational corporation known as Westfield, which is Australian. It's an Australian company. And they built all the shops H&M, River Island, Marks and Spencer's, Debenhams. Like, it's a massive. I think it's definitely the biggest shopping centre in the UK. All under one roof, massive malls, American style mall, run by Westfield. All the money came in, and it created lots of jobs. It created a lot of tertiary jobs, as we've seen out. Yes, created a lot of tertiary jobs, which led to increased employment. Forgot about that. I won't put that one in. Shopping. Everything you want, bowling alley, everything. It even got a casino linked to it as well. Great social sustainability and the creation of jobs. The thing is, with the regeneration, we went from jobs in manufacturing, heavy industry. These are quite well-paid jobs, high-skilled jobs, and then they were replaced by kind of working in a shop or working in tourism. A lot of the area now is focused on tourism, which tends to be low-paid tertiary work. So the jobs have changed. The people that worked in the mills and the factories are not the same people that are working in the Westfield shopping centre. So the jobs never returned. The same jobs, those high-paid manufacturing jobs, didn't return to the area. So that was a shame. And that's probably a disadvantage of the project. So I'm going to put here manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing jobs were replaced by low-paid tertiary jobs or employment. So that's an example of where economics sustainability is not being met, really. Okay. Because the job types change in the area. So was it a success, the London Olympics regeneration? Overall, we do believe it was a successful regeneration project. It is held up as a flagship regeneration project. Maybe I should put it here. Flagship regeneration project. But that's up for debate. Depends who you ask. If you ask the local people, it used to be their flagship regeneration. They would disagree with that statement. But if you ask anybody involved, like the LDDC, the government of the UK, they would say it is a flagship regeneration project, i.e. it's successful, basically. It was a success. So you can decide whether you think it is. Right, so that's a hell of a lot there on London change. Now we're going to use this little space down here for sustainability of London. So we're going to squeeze in as much here. So all that bit up there is about urban change, basically. There we go. So I'm going to use this bottom corner here to talk about sustainability of our cities. So hit us up in the chat, guys. It's your chance to get involved. We'll ask you 2 questions. What can you do to make cities more sustainable? What can you do to make cities more sustainable? Hit us up in the chat. What have you got for some quiz points? How do you make cities more sustainable? What can you do to them? So, we've got some coming in. Urban greening, absolutely. Green space, fantastic one. Green roofs, green walls, parks, gardens, all that sort of good stuff. Absolutely, a really good one. Sustainable transport, well done, Harry. Sustainable transport, car, bicycles, park and ride, things like that. Public transport. Use of solar and green renewable energy, good. Public transport, so Lucas and James, good. So at the moment we've got Harry on 3, Bruno on 4, Lucas on 1, James on 2. Right, I think before we look at sustainable cities, let's just unpick the word sustainable. Yep. Now, sustainable or sustainability is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising future generations' to meet their own needs. What that means is anything that's sustainable is positive for future generations. So anything that's positive for future generations, basically. Yeah, something that's good for the children in the future, grandchildren, yeah, is classed as being sustainable. Socially sustainable, it's good for people in the future, long term. Economic, it's good for wealth in the future. And environmental, it's good for the planet's green spaces. So sustainability is about something that's positive for future generations. Okay. So when we think about sustainability in cities, it usually means anything that reduces greenhouse gas emissions. Okay. So when we're thinking about cities, a lot of the technologies and solutions are all aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and therefore helping to combat climate change. So sustainable cities are cities that are cleaner, greener, better for future generations, and are not going to contribute to greenhouse gas emissions and future climate change. So let's have a little look what London is doing. Oh no, we'll have a quick look at some general strategies, and then we'll have a look at London. So we can look at transport, and we're going to go with a key term. Cities that can develop an integrated transport scheme. So integrated transport schemes are examples of sustainability. What does that mean? What does that mean, guys? Hit us up in the chat. What is an integrated transport system? Any ideas? Okay. Any ideas? Cohesive network of transport such as bus and train. Yeah, so it's basically a seamless link between public transport and green transport. So you can go from riding your bike to catching a train to catching the underground, and it's all seamless, it's all timed. You have one ticket, one fare, and it's all integrated. So London does this really well. You pay a fare for the day to travel around London, and yeah, it's all connected together on your bike. You can hire electric bikes, you can go on the train, you can go on the bus, all for one price, one ticket, and it seamlessly connects you around the city, which is absolutely fantastic, really. Okay, let's have a look at some things that London has done to be a sustainable city. So we'll do a little London checklist. So if it comes up about sustainable cities, London is our case study. As you know, we've done London so much. And London is going to be a net zero energy city by 2030. It was going to be 2050. Sir Keir Starmer has brought it forward to meet our climate change targets, and now it's 2030. Net zero doesn't mean that you don't burn fossil fuels. It means basically if you emit 50 fossil fuel units here, you capture 50 through green space and plants or whatever else, and it's offset as zero. So if you put 50 out, collect 50 in, that's net zero. So it doesn't mean that everything is going to be renewable by 2030. It just means we're going to hit net zero by 2030. So that is we've got some strong commitments here. In London, 40% of buildings are insulated to a high standard, especially the modern ones under the standards of building regulations. So 40% of buildings in London are well insulated. That helps to trap heat. If you put your heating on, it stays in the home. You don't have to use as much energy to heat your home up. So insulation is really, really important. Number 3 for London, it has a world-class transport system. World-class ITS. Let's call it ITS, Integrated Transport Scheme. It's got an integrated transport scheme, such as it has the ULEZ zones. What does ULEZ stand for? Who's going to be first for this one? So London has a ULEZ zone. So does Birmingham. What is a ULEZ zone? Any ideas? ULEZ for a point. Who's going to be the fastest? Sorry, I'm just drawing some insulated walls. They're called cavity walls, basically. Cavity walls. So it's basically where you put foam in between 2 layers of bricks. So you've got bricks, foam, bricks, and it keeps your house well insulated, called cavity walls. First one is Bruno, ultra low emissions zone. Well done. Point to you. And James, he's still got a point there. Ultra low emissions zone. Yeah, so if you go into an ultra low emissions zone, you have to pay unless you have a low emissions car. So something like an electric vehicle, something like that, you'd be fine. Buses can go in, taxis can go in, delivery vans can go in. But if it's a car that's a traditional diesel or petrol, you would have to pay a charge online to enter the ULEZ zone to keep out the high emissions cars from the centre of the city, improving air quality for you and I when we go into the city. They've got electric buses in London. Electric buses. And they'll all be electric by 2030 is the aim. Every bus in London will be an electric bus by 2030. Fantastic. They have over 40,000 charge points for vehicles in London already. That's expanding significantly. And they also have lots of areas for walking, which is good for fitness and social well-being, mental health and all that sort of good stuff. And then we also have cycle highways. Linked to that, you've also got the Barclays / Boris bike scheme, where you can hire bikes on an app on your phone, and they're on the side of the street. You can release them, and then you can cycle around the city on a bike. I think they also have the electric scooter scheme as well down there still. So you've got the electric scooters as well that you can hire again to get around the city. If not, they have those in York. That's the city that has them. And many other cities also have the electric scooter schemes. So again, transport is all integrated. You can move freely around. That's not to mention the underground. Maybe we should put that there, the underground, which is a fantastic system of trains that go underground, connecting various different parts of London. And it's used by many Londoners each day. Highly successful scheme. Right, let's go for other ones, which is, let's go to green space. 47% of London is green space, which is fantastic. Of London is green space. So that could include parks. It's got over 3,000 parks in London. It's got 3,000 parks. And they're going to increase the tree planting by 10%. 10% increase in tree planting. So they've committed to more green space in the future. But there's 3,000 parks, one of which is the Olympic Park, Queen Elizabeth II. There's also Hyde Park. as well. Very famous park down in London. There we go. Other things we've got are waste management, recycling in London. So it's going to be a zero waste city by 2050. Okay, zero waste city by 2050. That means it's not going to be, it doesn't mean there's going to be no rubbish. It means what rubbish there is, it's going to be recycled. Okay, so all waste will be recycled in London by 2050. The current recycle rates are 65%, which is above national average in London. So at the moment, we recycle 65% of waste in London, similar to what you do in Burton, where you've got your blue bin for your glass and your cardboard, you've got your brown bin for your garden waste. The same in London, they've got the different coloured bins, which is for recycling. Let's have a look what else we've got. We've got emissions. So people that live in London generally have lower emissions. So we've got lower capita emissions. Only 46% of people in London don't own a car. Don't own a car. So that just shows you how good the public transport is if people just rely on the world-class public transport system, because they don't own a car. So that means that their emissions are much, much lower. So what else can we say about London? A few other schemes. Let's just put a few other London schemes down. And then I've got a challenge here. I'm going to put a challenge in this corner, because it all seems all well and good, but there is a major problem that they're coming up against in London for sustainability. It's always good to have something to counter-argue. But other schemes that we've got are water conservation schemes. So saving water. So that is things like, I forgot from the green space, guys. I forgot here, rooftop gardens. Rooftop gardens. Such as the Sky Garden. That's a building in London which has a big garden on top of it. So we've got Sky Gardens. So these Sky Gardens are able to absorb carbon dioxide and other emissions, filter the air, and also create a cooler environment. So obviously you may have heard of urban heat island. So cities tend to be 2 to 3 degrees warmer than surrounding countrysides. Green space helps with cooling. So this would help with obviously a cooler area, filtration of the air, and green space again, perfect for well-being. So water conservation, saving water in London. Same with energy. We've got smart meters and water meters. So we can use those. Smart meters, obviously, to measure electricity. Water meters, obviously, reduce your water consumption. We've got things like dual flush toilets in London, obviously. So you've got 2 buttons. And I think it's 3 litres and 7 litres. Or is it 3.5 litres and 7 litres? That's it. So the small button is 3.5 litres if you press that. If you press the bigger button on the flush, that's 7 litres. So pressing the smaller flush obviously helps to save your water as well, which is good. Let's see what else I've missed. Oh, urban farming. Urban farming and car sharing as well. So they're encouraged to car share if you have got a car. It's better in Birmingham because they actually have a dedicated car sharing lane in Birmingham. So if you're sharing a car with somebody else, then obviously you can use the fast track car sharing lane, which is good. But yeah, we've got urban farming. So they're encouraging urban farming in London. Grow your own food, and then that reduces food miles and things like that. But this is probably better done in somewhere called Oxford City Farm, and they've actually created their own city farm. So locally produced food, Obviously, Oxford is not London, but it's an example of where it's been really successful, where they grow their own food and sell it locally. So food miles are down, don't have to transport the food. Food is fresher, and it's from the city itself. That's really good. So I think we've covered. We haven't done renewable energy, net zero energy. Yeah, so that's solar and wind. Maybe I should put that up there. Guys, running out of space here, aren't we? Yeah, so mainly solar panels is the main one that London are using, but it is wind as well. Solar and wind. Just trying to squeeze it on. Yeah. So we've got solar, we've got wind, and we've got a place in London called BedZ, which is a development which uses both solar and wind. So it's called BedZ development, and it uses solar and wind, renewable energy, clean, green, and renewable, which is fantastic. So London's doing lots of things to be a sustainable city. It's made a big commitment to sustainability with strong, ambitious goals. But the main problem it's coming up with is actually, this is the challenge of sustainability for London. A lot of the buildings in London are built maybe 800 years ago, up to 1,000 years ago. So trying to get those buildings, the old cathedrals, the churches, the old part of London, the London city, the Tower of London, the castles and things, getting those sustainable is really, really difficult. So the challenge is retrofitting. So trying to make the older buildings sustainable. So retrofitting old buildings is very difficult and costly to be sustainable. So retrofitting of old buildings to be sustainable. And London probably has more old buildings than most urban areas. It's got beautiful charm and character, and getting that to be sustainable is really difficult. And if it's possible, it's very expensive. So that's the challenge for London. But it has got very ambitious goals. The UK government want to make London a leading city for sustainability, and you can see they are doing lots and lots of stuff there to do that. One thing that's kind of missing from London is grey water recycling, which is where you use water perhaps from your sink and things like that, and then you use it to water your garden and to flush your toilets. London doesn't have many grey water recycling schemes, which are fantastic. So in your exam, I'd probably mention a place called Newport in Wales. Newport in Wales has a fantastic grey water recycling scheme in its recent development there. So that's probably a better example. But hopefully that covers everything for sustainable cities and sustainable London. So we're going to finish off there, guys. Look at that. Wow. So urban change and sustainability. That has pretty much covered everything into some kind of grade 7+ detail there. You've got some nice facts, figures, case study there. Fantastic. If you haven't checked out our previous video on the channel, have a little look. It's paper 2, urban issues and challenges. And we did it last week, so that one's there ready for you to look at. If you've enjoyed today's live stream, please hit that thumbs up, guys. I do really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We are going to leave it there for now. Join us next week for Economic World, paper 2 on the 6th of June. You don't want to miss it. The best place for you to help you revise for this year's geography exams. Right, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye for now, guys. Bye-bye. Is it ended? No, it's not ended yet. Mod, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, Mod. Really appreciate you joining us as well. Thank you very much. Right, we definitely ended it now. End stream. See you in the next one, guys.